an awful lot has changed. And as you were describing before, it looks like this is a deal that strongly favors what Turkey wanted. And so because it's favoring Turkey in such a large way, we have a few open questions of how long this ceasefire can last, whether it'll be implemented, and whether or not the pressure that's on Turkey to change what it's doing in northeast Syria, whether or not that will go away. We're seeing some congressional reactions already. Lindsey Graham tweeting just a few minutes ago saying that he's open to the ceasefire. He's welcoming the work that Vice President Pence did. But Congress is still interested in seeing the Turks fall back from the positions they've conquered since October 9th. Will the Turks fall back from these positions? It doesn't seem like this deal is going to do that. And so that opens the question of, can the ceasefire last, and will the pressure on Turkey for sanctions decrease it in any meaningful way?
Ryan, not least because as a result of this 5-day ceasefire, the president says he hopes is permanent, but it's a 5-day ceasefire right now that the Turks will not even acknowledge is a ceasefire because they say those are only between two legitimate sides. And now they have, as you heard from Vice President Pence and from Trump himself, the president said sanctions are no longer necessary. So the major threat or catalyst here to prod Turkey to any further action is now gone. So again, what pushes, as you said, pushes them out of this territory? What further incentive do they have to do anything?
Well, the Turks have, at this point, very little incentive to change their behavior. Their strategy has paid off. They're getting what they want out of the United States. And now their negotiations now need to move to the Russians and to the Syrian government behind them. That's who they're going to be focused on next, is getting buy-in from the Russians to have their presence in northeast Syria, to set up this buffer zone, to carry out their strategy of resettling refugees and interdicting weapons between the militant Kurds in southeast Turkey and the militant Kurds in northeast Syria. So that's where they're going to be focused next. At the moment, Turkey looks like they have resolved their major issue with the White House. They will have more time to try to negotiate with Congress or try to deflect the pressure from Congress. At the moment, now they really need to focus on what the Russians are doing in the Northeast and what Moscow will give them buy-in for.
So what is, Ryan, the collision that is over the next hill, if you will? In other words, do we have a time coming when NATO member Turkey collides with a triumvirate, let me put it that way, of Syria, our avowed enemy, the Kurds who have fled into the arms of the Syrian government, and the Russians? Is that the ultimate collision?
That's very much a risk that exists at this moment. We have seen Turkey and Syria work out their differences to an awkward extent in northwest Syria, in the Idlib province area, which is, it's the same civil war, but it's a different theater. We've seen them shoot at one another and then de-escalate with Moscow's mediation. That may be a pattern that begins to emerge in the northeast. It's a little bit different in the northwest than the northeast, because in the northeast, the Syrian government is moving in quickly to fill this power vacuum left by the United States. So there's a real risk that we see these two sides getting into military clashes, and that the Moscow's diplomatic finesse will really be tested in trying to de-escalate tensions between Turkey and between Syria.